delicious. It's the fruitcake that turns skeptics into believers. Find Beatrice Bakery fruitcake online at grandmasbakeshop.com or at your favorite retailer, and make your holidays deliciously unforgettable with the help of Beatrice Bakery's world-famous fruitcake.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Bagels and Joe is the perfect place for breakfast or lunch in December. Try one of their delicious breakfast sandwiches or grilled breakfast burritos. Don't forget to snag a gift card for stocking stuffers and bring your family in from out of town. With 4 locations in Lincoln and 1 in Seward, Bagels and Joe.
At Fairway Meat Market, your family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now through December 14th, enjoy USDA Choice 8-ounce New York strips, $6.99 each. 85% lean ground beef, $4.98 per pound. All natural boneless chicken breasts, $2.48 per pound. And holiday gift boxes are available for $50. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Hungry for something real? Come to HF Crave, Lincoln's favorite spot for burgers that are anything but basic. Locally sourced Nebraska beef, hand-cut fries, and bold flavors that'll make your taste buds cheer. Whether you're craving the classics or ready to try something wild, they've got the burger that gets you. HF Crave. Fresh, local, craveable. Find them at 48th and Holdridge or order online at hfcrave.com. For remote starters, audio upgrades, and more, there's only one place to go. Auto Sounds of Lincoln at 48th and O.
You've got used to one segment of Good Takes in the morning, but now there's a full show of Good Takes at night. Welcome into Raff's Good Take on Sports on 93.7 The Ticket.
Welcome in, Harrison Arns on the 1s and 2s. Chris Raff streaming in on a busy Monday here, at the very least, at least for Huskerland Sports. A lot of things to get into. Some things great, some things not too great, and some things just downright disappointing. All right, Chris Raff, let's go ahead, bring you in the show. How's it going? It's beautiful here in Circle City. We got up to 51.
Holy cow. Heat wave. Yeah, I did not get up to 51 in Alabama today. I think we were about in the 30s, I think. It was like 15 degrees this morning. So, yeah, it's winter in Alabama.
I think the basketball team's bringing us the heat, men and women. I think they're just bringing in some hot sun for us because I'll tell you what, those guys have been on fire. And we'll get into that. But, Raph, I'll let you kick things off because there's a million things, and I know you got some certain subjects on your notes that we definitely want to hit.
Well, yeah, definitely. But, I mean, I got to ask, how was your weekend? I mean, did you have a good weekend, Harrison?
Phenomenal. Bears won.
Nice.
The Huskers volleyball team lost. Yeah. But the men's basketball team won. So, 2 for 1. I'll take it. You obviously really want the volleyball team to keep pushing through. And that one obviously hurt. I mean, that one was a gut punch. But you were proud of the way they fought. I know a lot of people were freaking out. Listen, this is the NCAA volleyball tournament. It was unrealistic for us to all sit here and think this team would have no problems and just, blow everyone out of the water. It's not that easy. And those guys, despite losing, they had that 30-point set. I think that was the third set where it was like 33 to 35 or something ridiculous.
37, 35.
Yeah, just insane. Even in that fifth set, they came back and they clawed. It looked like Texas A&M was going to run away with it. They went out there, they fought, they made it closer than Texas A&M would have wanted it. You tip your cap to A&M, but that volleyball team fought hard. You can't tell me that wasn't a performance that wasn't exciting to watch. Wrong side of it, but my Lord, They went out with a bang, and I'll give them that much. Shout out to the seniors, but they got a lot of talent coming back. You look forward to next year. Listen, that was year one of Danny Busboom Kelly. It'll be all right.
What's crazy about that is watching that game. It was a little bit before your time, but it reminded me so much of the 83 Orange Bowl, Nebraska versus Miami, the way Texas A&M stormed ahead, got up 2-0. It reminded me of Miami storming up, taking a 2-touchdown lead over Nebraska. The Nebraska fights back. Dean Steinkuhler has the fumble Ruski, brings Nebraska back into the game. Then they get to that the fourth set, and then you have the 37-35 set. It reminded me of Nebraska clawing its way back. Turner Gill option, Jeff Smith bringing it back, tying the game up, and then they go to the fifth set, and Nebraska's fired up, and then they're unable, to get the 2-point conversion. And Nebraska's unable to win. I mean, it was so like, it was kind of, for me, it was very uncanny. I was like, man, this is it kind of reminds me so much of the 83 game. And then it kind of, and also too, I think it's going to be kind of like in Nebraska folklore, like everybody always talks about that 83 Nebraska team. Like, man, that was one of the best offensive teams in the history of college football, one of the best teams in college football, but they did not win the championship. And I think this is that team for Nebraska volleyball that you're always going to kind of look back on this team and be like, that was one of the greatest teams that was probably ever assembled, but they were unable to win the championship. So I think in the legendary status of Nebraska folklore, that they'll never be forgotten. Maybe not the way they wanted not to be forgotten, but at least it's like Harper Murray said, the memories and what they did this season, it's not soon to be forgotten.
Well, and there's two ways this can go, right? Like for the seniors, for how good that Nebraska basketball team, the standard next year is still going to be there in my eyes, obviously. So I think, say Nebraska volleyball goes on to win a championship next year. Maybe they win 2 back-to-back. Maybe they win 3 out of the next 4 or 3 out of the next 5. Like people will look at this year's team as a team that was a team that put the foundation in place that turned this team into a monster. You kind of had that same thing with some of the football teams where you're just short, especially in the 90s. Then all of a sudden Nebraska gets to that point. And it's to no discredit of any of the teams that didn't win the championship. Those 95 teams, those teams that won it would not have existed if there wasn't elite teams behind it. And that's where those teams were. I think they'll go down in history as one of the better teams to ever come through this state, through that volleyball program. But I think there's a good chance that storyline becomes the foundation of Nebraska's monstrous run. And that's the way I'm going to choose to look at it. Because the volleyball program, I understand some people's frustration, but they are still the kid that I don't have to worry about. If I want to use the parenting analogy, the kid still messes up. They'll figure it out. And I think they have some really good recruits. They have plenty of players, good experience. That program will be all right.
Yeah. And also too, even though she hasn't won the national championship yet, when you have a coach that's got a 91% win-loss ratio in the history of all of her head coaching, I think Nebraska is going to be just fine. And one thing about Nebraska volleyball is they definitely don't rebuild, they reload. So I have a feeling you're going to see Nebraska back in the top of the polls again next year. And you're going to see that fire, from Danny Busboom Kelly to get that first championship. So I expect Nebraska to, be competing for volleyball national championships for a good long time. As long as DBK's around, I think Nebraska is going to be just fine.
Well said. That's exactly where I am. I'm choosing to look at it as the beginning of the monstrous run. Despite as sweet as things have been, I think this team it's going to be knocking on the door for national championships next year and the year after and the year after. Unless something catastrophic happens, which I don't think will. I think this team will be just right where they kind of were next year. Maybe not undefeated, but let's be realistic here. That's 2 times now we've been undefeated. It does not guarantee you a championship. And I think that's what caught people off guard. But again, you tip your cap. Texas A&M. It sucks that it's Trev Alberts all the time. I'm not gonna lie.
That was the worst part of that game. I mean, losing felt bad, but being Trev Alberts and knowing that he was there was just like, come on, not Trev, but
basketball that happened to us in the tournament 2 years ago. The women's team also somehow got Texas A&M. And I was like, okay, and then of course, volleyball, you're looking at it and you're like Louisville or Texas A&M. You got headlights going into both of those. And then I'd still would have rather played Louisville, not knowing the result. I obviously would have wanted to play Louisville. And then was it baseball when we went to the Texas A&M regional?
I think
no, we
so.
went to the Oklahoma State.
I know, Oklahoma, yeah.
Yeah. But just something about Texas A&M. It's been bothering me.
Yep. And then I was going to ask you, Harrison, do you have any eligibility left? I think Nebraska's going to maybe need a quarterback next year. I was just seeing if maybe you might be able to go in and take a few snaps next year.
Oh yeah, I'm willing and able. I got a candidate.
All right,
I can launch that thing. Give me some good QB design, run plays too.
Okay.
I'll get you 2 yards.
All right, I'm good with that. You know, you might be getting a call from Coach Rule and Glenn Thomas and Dana Holgerson here in the next couple of weeks, seeing what you got in the tank. Maybe pull a little Philip Rivers, maybe.
My starting price is $2 million. So put that out there now. In case they think about making that phone call, understand the prestige that I am if you're going to try to bring me onto that roster.
I love how you go with the 2 million. You know, I'd go for, like free, but you're going 2 million. Yeah, $1 million. You won't budget $1 million, 500,000, 400,000, 200,000, 100,000.
I mean, if they take me, Raff, that's like giving them a national champion. How much money are they going to make off of me? I'm just giving them fair value.
I see. You kind of remind me of that lottery player where it's like, I only play when it's over $1 billion, but 40 million would not be enough. Just would not be enough. So,
no, I would do it for free if they would take me. Don't get me wrong. I would go out there, but who knows? Obviously, the news is Dylan Raiola hit the transfer portal. We do already off of YouTube. Bulldog chimes in here. Does Nebraska throw a bag at a QB or take the Iowa approach and throw a majority of money on the lines of scrimmage? I know which way I'd go. Raff, I'll let you start.
Can we say C, all of the above? C, all of the above.
I think you have allocation percentage-wise. How much to skilled players and how much to the trenches?
Well, yeah, man, it's one of those things. Like, I understand you've got to throw the money to get the offensive lineman there, but you've got to find a signal caller, and I guess you've got to figure out first, with TJ Lateef, like what is his plan? Because we've seen it. Every player in college football is technically they're 1-year contracts, and they become almost like free agents at the end of the year. So we got to make sure, that TJ Lateef is going to be back next year. No surprises there. If that's what you're going to go with, if TJ Lateef is the quarterback, then you go all in and you find your lineman, or you find your transfer portal lineman and see what you can do to shore up the offensive line. But you're also going to have to look at, with TJ, it's going to be a little bit different style of offense with Nebraska. So you're going to have to look at your philosophy and see, okay, so what type of lineman are we going to get? Are we going to get pass pro linemen? Everybody's dream is to get a combination run pass, lineman, but in reality, it does not always work that way. So they're definitely going to have to sit down with their philosophy, see what kind of offense they're going to run, how it's going to be ran, and they go from there. And then I think you're also still going to have to find another quarterback, because I believe Gramstad, he's finished, I believe, after this year.
He's done.
And you got the quarterback from, am I forgetting it? Davilas, the guy from Michigan State. Marcus Davila, I believe it is.
I don't want to butcher it. I think you're saying it right.
So you'll have him back. So, but I think you're going to have to go out and look at a quarterback and see, somebody who's in the portal. And then with that, you're going to have to, figure out, it's going to have to be comparable to like Lateef, because you don't want to bring somebody that's completely different style, because you want to be able to have interchangeable if an injury does happen to Lateef. And then you've got to decide if Lateef is that guy. Is he your starting quarterback, or are you going to open it up to competition? I mean, I know they say there's always competition. I get that, but usually you kind of have who your quarterback's going to be, like almost like you knew who your running back was going to be last year. So that's a discussions that they're going to have to decide on and go with that. So there's there's a lot of things that, Nebraska football over the next month or 2 weeks, 3 weeks that they're going to have to come to some conclusions on and see where they're going to be standing at.
Yeah, and then, double down on that, does Nebraska throw money at QB / skill positions, or, you throw the money at the line of scrimmage? The only problem I have with throwing mine at the line of scrimmage, it's like, that's a tough place to portal through.
Yeah.
Like, you're lucky to get 2 decent players out of the portal for the trenches. And like we saw that with Pritchett and Spindler. That's kind of a rarity, unless you are Georgia or, in this case, probably Indiana right now, or Ohio State, where you have all the funds and you have the prestige to convince those guys, even if they might not play, to go there, stay there, and then play the next season. Really tough to do. We got a couple, which I thought is better than average. And we do it every year. We get always get a guy from Bama or Georgia or some SEC school who comes here and they play all right, but it doesn't fix the offensive line ever. It never has. And if you're going to try to get 5 dudes out of the portal to have an entirely new offensive line, you're just not going to be able to pull that off. You need to develop those guys. And I hate to keep going back to that. That's why I keep saying forever. Skill player is a lot easier to pluck and place into your roster out of the portal, because wide receivers running the same routes, they're just calling it different names. Linemen, there's a certain way they're blocking, and there's a certain communication that the guys have built up over the years.
And that's
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, that's one of the things that we talked about earlier this year, though. It's Nebraska's got some young alignment that we have not, like the Grant Brickses of the world. They've got some guys they're in that pipeline. Now, this is the chance where the new offensive line coach, Jeep Wade.
Yep.
That's where he's going to have to, make his money. And I think that's one of the big reasons why he's coaching in the bowl game, because I thought maybe at first he'd sit back and just, watch it and just kind of, what is it where you're just kind of watching the players evaluate from the outside looking in. But being that he's taken over, right away, I think this is where you're going to see some of those young linemen and, to learn his ways and the fundamentals that he teaches. So I think it's going to be huge. And we always talk about, a lot of Nebraska fans, I always hear, well, if we throw money at them, we're going to win. We throw money at them, we're going to win. Well, it's not completely. Nebraska needs to hit their coaching staff when they're and their people, their analysts that are watching tape and recruiting. Nebraska's got to hit on some say diamonds in the rough. It should always be like you talked about. We throw a lot of money and then they come in and play. So. Nebraska needs, to get into that tape room and, find some players, because there's players out there. You see it all the time with other schools. You see players that, don't get, look at the quarterback for Indiana, the Heisman Trophy winner. They're there. It's just, you've got to hit that. And that's what makes great coaching staffs is you find those players that, they're out there. There are a ton of players out there. It's just now, the coaching staff and the people that are watching the tape and the videos, that's where you earn your money, is you find those players.
Yeah, 100%. Off YouTube, we got Childs or Lagway at quarterback. Wants to know if those are too risky. He said he would love Sorsby or Levitt. Obviously, Sorsby, Cincinnati, Levitt, Arizona State with the injury. You saw a lot of Jeff Sims this year instead. Childs, no way. I'm terrified of Childs. I was more terrified of the backup quarterback from Michigan State in the game. I was at the stadium watching Michigan State versus Nebraska, and as soon as the backup came in and put up 7, it's like, this guy's good. And then they put Childs back in, and we came back, won the game. Childs goes down hurt again. Backup QB goes in and gets a quick 7, and I was like, man, they should have played him the entire time. I would take the backup QB. I think it's Murkowski or something like that. It's 3 syllables at the very least. Levitt would make the most sense to me, or Sorsby. It depends what the offense is going to look like, though, to your point, Raff.
Well, it goes back to Levitt and Sorsby. What do you think if they came to Nebraska? What would they want to do?
Well, Sorsby, he's a dual threat.
But what would they want to do before even dual threat or passing or running? What would they want to do?
I don't know. I don't know what you're hitting at.
They'd want to be the starter.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So
that is true.
So what we heard for most of this year was get TJ Lateef in, get TJ Lateef in, get TJ Lateef in. So now you're running the risk of what if you've sat down and you've told TJ Lateef that, hey, you're going to be our starter. You're the guy that we're going to, build around. So I think that right there eliminates Sorsby and Levitt right away, because I think you're going out. If you tell Lateef that he's going to be the starter, or this is the guy we're building you around, you're out looking for like a second string type quarterback. I don't see how you're going to keep. I don't think like Lateef, he's felt it now. He's been the starter for the last 3 games. He'll be the starter in the bowl game. It's like he's got the feel of being the starter at Nebraska. So those are decisions, because I think you run the risk you might lose Lateef if you tell him that, hey, we're going to go for a Sorsby or a Levitt. Now that he's got that feeling of being a starter, I'd have a feeling that that'd be one of the decisions. It'd be a decision for him to whether he wants to stay at Nebraska or not.
Well, even if you're able to keep TJ Lateef, like, do you really want to have 2 high caliber guys? You get $22.5 million. You bring in a quarterback of Sorsby or Levitt's talent, you're going to have to pay them.
And
just
pay
to sit on.
And that's not going to happen, because they're both going to want it. They're both leaving situations. Even though Levitt had been hurt this year, Levitt was the starting quarterback. In the same way, with Sorsby having the year at Cincinnati, he's certainly not going to say, okay, well, I'm going to transfer to Nebraska and be the second string quarterback.
Yeah, even a guy like Childs, who, they might put him in a quarterback competition because it didn't really go the way they thought.
Yeah,
he's going to be going to even if like he feels like he's going to get beat out at Michigan State, I don't think he'd go to Nebraska and be a backup. I think he'd go to a smaller school and just start there. So it's going to be tough. I mean, I think Lateef is the answer right now, because you have him in the system. You know how much it's probably going to cost to keep him there, and you can kind of build off of that, as opposed to bringing in somebody else who, unless you're totally okay with just moving on from Lateef, but you better make sure that like everyone's on the same page there, and who you're bringing in is going to work, because again, it's that revolving door, just nonstop.
Yeah, you can't swing and miss. And then people are really going to be upset if, say, you go out and you get like a Sorsby or a Levitt, and TJ decides to leave, and then theoretically, say TJ transfers, has a good season at his new school, Dylan has a good season at his new school, and then Nebraska's going to be sitting there scratching their heads going, we had both those quarterbacks and we lost them both. And so it's like I said, college football, it's one of those things. You've got to swing and you've got to connect, or else, then the heat turns up. But that's why they have this job. I mean, it's what college football is now. It's not the college football that it used to be. It never will be that. And this is what it is. It's basically, you've got to produce. It's not one of those wait 5 years and see things anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you got the money, you got the facilities, especially when you're at a place like Nebraska, which is unfortunate because, again, you got the back-to-back bowl games, which is something the program hasn't done forever, and maybe it sounds a little snobbish at times, but the schedule this year really should have lent a lot of teams. Like, you could even maybe pick a team out of Scott Frost era that would have went bowling with this year's schedule, and then, you get a Michigan team without their head coach. It was no longer their head coach there anymore, period. Obviously, a down Penn State, a much better Iowa team than I think we've seen in years past, but still, you don't like seeing that result. You had some games that were in your favor. USC was a good game for them, but you came up short. Minnesota was just no excuses for that. You had, once again, too many games this season where you're like, well, we're really taking steps. How are we seeing some of these same results year in, year out? And again, I think that's why we're getting a soft reset. Not a full-on reset, but you don't fire your offensive line coach. Have your main guy transfer out of school, hit the transfer portal, go through multiple offensive coordinators, new defensive coordinator. Like, we've had a lot of position changes already. And then you go look at a school like Indiana, which is unfair to keep comparing to Indiana, but you just see a staff that's still together, that hasn't fired anyone. That group is still there coaching, and you're seeing the results of continuity, but continuity with the right guys. And Nebraska's always been in the process of trying to find the right guys. And when you have so many things moving, I think it's hard to figure out what's actually broken. And that's why I think we always run into this pattern. So hopefully this is the fix. But again, we've just done this a lot. So it worries people, including me.
Yeah, no. And I also was going to say too, and some of the fans, how vicious that they are, to Dylan. And the Raiola family. I don't understand that either. It's like he brought what's the word I'm looking for? He brought recognition to Nebraska. Like, no, say what you want about Dylan. Maybe he didn't perform up to the standards that people expected him to. But what he brought to Nebraska was he brought that recognition that Nebraska would not have had. So I mean, I wish him all the best in his future, and I'm glad that we were able to have him here for 2 years. I know a lot of people will be like, oh, he was going to transfer. Like now you're hearing all these people coming out of the woodwork, like he was never going to stay. He was never going to this. I'm sitting there going, we're lucky to have had him here for 2 years because I mean, say what you want. He was the number 2 rated player in the nation in his class. And then he came to Nebraska to a school that hadn't been to a bowl game in 7 years. And the people and the hate that, some of the hate that's coming out right now, it's just like, I don't understand it, but I guess that is just me. And I guess some people are just going to hate, but by him coming to Nebraska, he brought a lot of people with him that we might not have, even had a chance at getting. So I say thank you and best of luck.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. I mean, I don't fully understand that either. You can have those opinions. You can talk about it in your circles, but I'll say it like that. Don't be the losers that are on Twitter and you can't even put your own name behind the Twitter handle because you're too scared to get any backlash from it. Like if you're one of those people that's tweeting behind an anonymous Twitter account, that is so lame. Just say it with your chest and, then I'll even let you have your opinion, even if I disagree with it. But if you're going to hide behind some BS Twitter handle and then sound off all the opinions, just rubbish. I'm not going to listen to any of it.
I'm going to throw this out there too. And I know it's probably a done deal, but say for instance, he goes out and he looks and maybe he don't find, what he's looking for, and say the coaching staff, Dana Holgerson, goes into, Coach Rule's office and is like, hey, I want my offense to be based around Dylan Raiola. That's the guy that I want to coach. So I wouldn't say never, but I don't think you want to slam the door on Dylan Raiola. I mean,
Emmett Johnson hit the portal last year.
And he made it and he returned. So all I'm saying is I'm saying it's not, the chances of it happening are probably pretty slim. But in the new age of the portal, I mean, that's still there. So people, might just, I always say be classy about it. I mean, it's at the end of the day, if that's his decision, that's his decision. The people would have been mad at him if he didn't come to Nebraska because all you heard was your dad came to Nebraska. Why didn't, and then he comes to Nebraska. Then all you hear is, well, he transferred a lot in high school. So he's, it was like, instead of just sitting back and enjoying it, because at the end of the day, look at his statistics. I mean, he was a 69% passer. There's not been a lot of 69% passers at Nebraska through the years. And so I think maybe the Nebraska fans were a little spoiled a little bit by what he did. So like I said, I wish him the best of luck. And if he happened to come back to Nebraska, and if it was something that Dana Holgerson and Coach Rule wanted, I'd be more than accepting to have him back.
Yeah, and this is where it just goes back to, and it drives me nuts. Like this wasn't a Dylan Raiola problem. And I think a lot of people latched onto the idea, and it happens all the time. The quarterback's the guy that gets the hype and then gets the blame. And Nebraska started losing games, and everyone was like, well, you started hearing we need to bench him and put TJ Lateef in. This is ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we got TJ Lateef in. We won one game, then we got blown out in the next two. We could have put Diego Pavia, Dempure in Utah, who, we'll go see, or Mendoza in Indiana. This team was not good enough across the board to go out and have a dominant season. Regardless of what quarterback you had in there. Maybe you win one more game, maybe you win a couple more at most. But I think that's the thing that's most frustrating is there was no room or world where we were just going to have a different quarterback and then we're off to the college football playoffs.
Yep.
Like that's the ludicrous stuff that drives me crazy. So best of luck to Dylan Raiola. I hope we get it right. I hope he gets it right, even if it's back here. I just want to see a good Nebraska football team. I don't care who's the one in the helmet that does it. Like, I don't care who leaves, who stays. I just want to see wins. There's my TED talk on it. I'm with you, Raff. I got a little bit frustrated hearing everyone come out of the woodwork. And I'm like, it's just odd takes to have. And again, especially when you're hiding behind a handle that isn't your real name, that isn't connected to your real life whatsoever. That just means you're kind of saying it with a little bit of cowardice. So That's all I got to say. We'll throw it to break. This is Raff's Good Take on Sports, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. We will talk to you guys in a bit.
It's the holiday season. Time for work parties, friend get-togethers, and family gatherings, which means lots of eating. Maybe you think you've perfected your holiday meals, and maybe you have no idea where to even start. Let's fix that right now. No holiday party is complete without Führer's cheese spread. It goes well with any type of cracker, pretzels, apples, chili, vegetable chips, and of course, it's perfect to pair with wine or beer. Holiday meals aren't complete until Führer's cheese spread is on the table. Find your own container at your nearest local grocery store today.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
Hey guys, it's Carly from Boyd Farm Outfitters. Farmers, the Nebraska Ag Expo is coming up on December 9th through 11th at the Sandhills Global Event Center, and we'd love to see you there. Our team will be in two places at once, in the Boyd Farm Outfitters booth and the Green Eye Technology booth, which are both in the Currency building. In the meantime, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and X at BoydFO to see what we've been working on. Again, that's BOECKFO on social media. We look forward to seeing you at the Expo.
Staying profitable means finding smarter, more efficient ways to farm. Those decisions turn hard work into something worth passing down. Join us at the Sandhills Global Event Center in Lincoln for the Nebraska Ag Expo on December 9th through 11th, where agriculture meets innovation. From big iron and livestock production to the latest in ag tech and soil health, discover the solutions that can help you do more with less and protect your legacy for generations to come. Sponsored in part by Farm Credit Services of America and Ag Direct.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT, from cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between. We'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
The top-ranked Nebraska volleyball team is trying to play its way to the Final Four in Kansas City. Make your plans now to cheer on the Huskers with a VIP travel experience from Sports Trip and the Nebraska Alumni Association. Travel round trip from Lincoln in a luxury motor coach with free parking, plus an overnight stay at the beautiful Hotel Indigo in Kansas City. See details and register at HuskerAlumniTrip.com. Hurry, spots are limited. Register now at HuskerAlumniTrip.com.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, the #1 fastest growing GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln area. We are going to keep this train rolling in a big way with new half-ton and 4x4 pickup trucks starting at $12,500 off list price or 0% financing. You heard that right, $12,500 off list price or 0% financing. You pick which one works better for you. Please stop on in the dealership and meet the team or check us out at koppelcars.com. Stock number C280930. All deals with roof credit.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
the holiday season. Time for work parties, friend get-togethers, and family gatherings, which means lots of eating. Maybe you think you've perfected your holiday meals, and maybe you have no idea where to even start. Let's fix that right now. No holiday party is complete without Führer's cheese spread. It goes well with any type of cracker, pretzels, apples, chili, vegetable, chips, and of course, it's perfect to pair with wine or beer. Holiday meals aren't complete until Führer's cheese spread is on the table. Find your own container at your nearest local grocery store today.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
Back to Raff's Good Take on Sports on 93.7 The Ticket. With all the good takes you need, here is your host, Chris Raff.
Welcome back in. Raff's Good Take on Sports 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. Chris Raff joining us as always. If you guys want to join in, start a Heyman text line or the streams, like I said. All right, Chris Raff, segment number 2. Where do you want to go?
I'm done.
All right, that's going to wrap it up. Raff's Good Take on Sports. Appreciate you guys listening.
That was my Kent Pavelka basketball call from the game on Saturday. Oh,
he forgot the 2 seconds. He
forgot the got it. So this past weekend we flew down to Houston. We surprised my parents for Christmas, a little early Christmas in Houston. So we had dinner reservations at 5:00, and we were listening to the Nebraska basketball games. We had to go to the voice of Nebraska basketball, Kent Pavelka, which I always do anyway because it's amazing. So he's calling the game. He gets down to the final shot by Jamarcus, and when Jamarcus shoots, he goes, "God!" and he doesn't say it. And we're like, and he's like, then he starts going, "Ah!" And so we just assumed he made the shot, but we were waiting for the "got it," but it was just "God." And it's Kent Pavelka at his finest. I mean, he's to a point now where it's like Nebraska has to win a tournament game this year. There can be no. I just hope he makes it. I actually, be honest with you, I just hope he makes it to the tournament game because I mean, every time he calls a game, it is like he puts his entire heart into these games. But it was quite the call. If you have not heard it, you definitely have to give it a listen because it is incredible.
You know who he reminds me of? Is Eric Collins. If anyone's listening to Charlotte Hornets basketball, he's the guy that's just going ballistic the entire time, just freaking out. He'll have those. He'll do like football every now and then. He's got an iconic call. Oh, what? I can't remember who's playing. It might have been Pitt, and it's like 3rd and whatever, and they're scrambling, and it's just going, "Oh, show me what you got!" And then he delivers an absolute dime, and he's just sitting there, just losing it. Like that's kind of a little bit of Pavelka, where he'll have some fun with it. Like he's watching the game, actively having just a blast, and that's what you saw in that Illinois game where he wanted to say "got it," but he just generally the excitement like took the rest of his voice. It was too good.
He's living. I mean, like that. It is his. I mean, what he's called. You know, usually you have broadcasters and some team broadcasters. You know, they're emotional. You look at like the Kyle Crooks. I think Dave Logan for the Broncos. People that I listen to a lot. But Kent Pavelka is a true, like, he is rooting for Nebraska every step of the way. He is, with every turnover, it's just you can hear the pain in his voice with every 3-pointer, just the excitement. And I think what makes it so great for him is that it is so pure and it is so true. Because if he was like trying to fake that, people would people would see right through it. And then I think he'd be criticized, where people are like, oh, he's just being fake. But it's just so legitimately true and so pure and so wanting to win so bad and wanting Nebraska to win so bad. I think that's what makes it so incredible, because I mean, we're sitting there in the truck down in Houston and we're like, I think he must have made it, because Kent's like, I'm going to pass out, and it's like, so, but I mean, I love every Nebraska game. I don't listen to the entire game, but what I usually do with 5 or 6 minutes left in the game, I'll turn it on and I'll listen to the radio call, because it is so good. And then also too, I want to give some props to Jeff Smith taking over this year for Jake Muehlheisen. Jeff is a great balancer for Kent, because Kent is so like, he's living every play, but Jeff Smith kind of brings that balance where he's talking the plays and he's saying, okay, I think Fred's going to go with this right here. So I think the balance that they've got, it's really good, and it's a really good chemistry. So yeah, it's fun to listen to. It is very entertaining. That's for sure.
Good call on Smith, because he just doesn't get talked about because Pavelka steals the show, but he does a good job keeping it grounded and well balanced. And yeah, again, I mean, Pavelka's been calling this basketball team for 40 years.
Yeah.
Like, he has every right, more than a lot of people, to be as excited as he is. So shout out to Ken Pavelka, and hopefully he makes it to the tournament and we can get some big time games that people, can get the radio call, because it went wildly popular, as people can imagine, like on social media. It wasn't just the Husker fans listening to it. It was on like a lot of the main accounts. I think I even saw Bleacher Report put it out there, and it was a phenomenal call. And you need it. I don't know if you heard the Buccaneers Falcons, that field goal, and then you just had Al Michaels just killing the mood entirely.
Oh yeah, it's good.
It was terrible. He's like, and it's up and good.
Yeah.
All right.
Kid's good stuff too, because he's kind of creating new stuff on the fly. Like, I think it was with about a minute left. He's like, all right, Nebraska or Husker Nation, we're all going to have to husk it up now. We got to husk it up, and he's like, and I'm just like, husk it up. And I've never thought about that before. So I'm tweeting to him. I'm like, we're husking it up down here in Houston, let's get, but then you have Jeff Smith. Like, Jeff Smith called it. He's like, there's nobody in the country that I don't want drawing up a final shot than Fred Hoiberg, and then all of a sudden he calls the play, kicks it out, Jamarcus. But yeah, it's entertaining. It's good stuff. And it's fun to see Nebraska. I mean, they are in a territory they've never been in. I mean, this is one of the best starts in the history. I mean, since like 78 or something like that. I mean,
I think it's officially the best start in program history.
It is now. So it's uncharted water, and see Nebraska up there in, the top 15. I believe we called that, didn't we? I think we said if they won the next two.
Number 15 on the dot.
Yep, you called it. So yeah, it's fun to see Nebraska, doing what they're doing, and then be remiss not to mention the girls basketball team, what they're doing, just taking teams apart. I mean, I know, was it Saturday or Sunday? I think it was Sunday they played, or is it Saturday? I know they won 80. It was like 85-44, but
that one was. Oh, what day was that? That was yesterday. It was Sunday.
Yeah, and what they're doing. They're playing a really good brand of basketball. So it's fun to see Nebraska doing what they're doing on the basketball court.
Yeah, and they'll have a couple easier games. You don't want to just say their wins upstate. For instance, gave us a little bit of run for our money. In the second half, we took over and won somewhat comfortably, but you got North Dakota, and then who was the other one? New Hampshire.
Yep.
And then you get number 9, Michigan State. So
that's January 2nd.
January 2nd is Michigan State, and they're currently ranked number 9. Chance for them to move up between us in that game. Now, if Nebraska wins 2-0 versus the light opponents, which you think they would be at 13-0, which would by far be the best start in program history.
Yeah.
Imagine they possibly move up a spot or two if some teams fall, put them up at like 13. And then Michigan, maybe they move up a spot, say number 8, or even stay at number 9. You win that game.
Yeah.
You don't want to look too far ahead, but this has been a fun season, and they just they get an opportunity in their lap, and they have been taking advantage of it. You know, you go to a rivalry game versus Creighton and you blow them out of the water. Then you get a first conference game versus Wisconsin, a well-coached team is every year. You blow them out by 30. Well, now everyone's like, okay, well, yeah, you played some tough teams, but you haven't really been challenged yet. How about a road game versus number 13 Illinois? Okay, buzzer beater, walk off. Like all in a week. It does not get any sweeter. That's 3 really important games in a 1 week span, and they won every single one of those in electric fashion. Like you could not be happier.
And then, look at it too. Like a lot of bracketologists have Nebraska at like a 6th seed right now. But Nebraska, takes care of business. Say they get a win, they get the next 2 wins, they get the Michigan State. So that puts them up to 14 and 0. Would that be? Or 14 and 0. So now you're getting to a point. If you hold serve at home and pick off some wins in the Big Ten, you're looking at like a 24 win season, 25 win season. So you're definitely looking at something higher than a number 6 seed. You might be looking at like a 3 or a 4, if not higher. I mean, there's a lot of good things that are happening for Nebraska basketball, but now it's just they gotta make sure they don't get lackadaisical. They can't have that we showed up and expected to win mentality. They've got to continue, every night they've got to show up and, see if they can continue this magical ride. And hopefully we can keep KP alive so he's able to call all the games.
Yeah, hopefully KP is taking care of himself in those vocal cords because he's going to lose it one of these times here. But I'll tell you what, I mean, that is a great point. It is still very early. We just haven't experienced this before, so it's obviously taking Nebraska by storm. But 11-0, we got a lot of ball games left. We just really got into conference play. Now we're 2-0, and one of them versus a ranked opponent on the road. Stealing those Big Ten games is huge. That is a tough thing to do. I know Fred Hoiberg told his team in a halftime, after their win versus Wisconsin, and told the guys essentially like, I always say it, boys win at home, men go win on the road. And that's what they did versus Illinois. It takes a different level of focus on the road to pull those wins off. We see it here in Nebraska. Even years we weren't as good as, we wanted to be. We were still winning a lot of games at home. It is one of the tougher things to do in college basketball, and especially in the Big Ten. You see that a lot. That's how we took down number 1 Purdue and Zach Edey, because we had him at the vault, and it's a tough place to win games in. So you like your odds of winning games at home. It's how many of these road games can we keep stealing? And that Illinois game just gave you such a good feeling. Like we might be able to go into really tough environments and still pull out wins.
And then also too, what makes it interesting or fun for Nebraska is Fred Hoiberg. He's made it known he loves road games. That was always his thing. I remember back when he played for Iowa State, he would come into Devaney and he would give it to Nebraska. That was his thing. He loved shutting up the opposing crowds, and it's cool to see so far that this team's kind of taken on his personality. So I hope that they continue to be those road warriors, like going into these opposing environments and, taking teams down. So hopefully it will continue on. But like I said, it's just Nebraska's just got to continue to show up every night. They can't just go and just cash it in thinking just because they're ranked 15, they're going to get victories. They've got to continue to play tough, hard-nosed basketball because that's what they do best.
Exactly. Well said. Before we get to, we're streaming only. We have NFL in the brick and mortar, 28-9. We're going to skip the break. Before we get to Raff's good take on life, you want to talk about the Heisman real quick?
Yes.
Okay. Your thoughts on it? Obviously, Mendoza out of Indiana wins it.
I think that was my choice. I think that's who I would have went with. I know that why am I forgetting the Vanderbilt quarterback? I know that
Diego Pavia.
Yeah, Diego. He had, I think, a say, but I think it was Mendoza's. He had the number 1 team in the country. He was the quarterback, so I'd go Mendoza.
Yeah, he had some really good moments too. I mean, that Penn State game, he drove it down the field to ensure they didn't lose that one at the end. Diego Pavia's had some moments, but we see it before. They usually just give it to the best team, and if there's any questions between this quarterback or 2 players, they usually just go with the better team, and that's what they did this year. So I'm not surprised by it. You can maybe give it to Pavia, but the way he's been acting, I'm kind of glad they didn't. I am crashing out.
I was kind of expecting. I kind of thought maybe Emmett might garner a few votes, and I don't think if he garnered any if at all, I'm not sure, but I thought maybe he might, get a couple, maybe like 3rd place votes or something like that. But next year.
Yeah, next year. Yeah, next year, as we always
Next
say here
running back. Well,
in Nebraska.
Mekhi Nelson next year, Heisman Trophy candidate.
Oh, I like that. Quentin
There we
Ives, Isaiah Mosey,
Yep.
anyone.
Game
I don't care. Just send a Husker out there.
So we'll see. We shall see.
Yeah, I had no problems though with Mendoza winning it. But that is your Heisman winner. It's between Mendoza, Jeremiah Love, Julian Sayin, or Diego Pavia. Fernando Mendoza wins it for Indiana. What a couple of years for Indiana. They got a Heisman winner, 2 college football playoff appearances, and now they got a bye in this year's college football playoff. And Nebraska's a basketball school. Who would have thought? Nebraska becomes a basketball school and Indiana becomes a football school, all in the blink of an eye.
Amazing. Who'd have thunk it?
Not me. Look at us. As the classic meme is. All right, Chris Raff. Few minutes left here. What is your good take on life?
All right, everybody. Today's Ralph's Good Take goes out to all the participants and the helpers and everybody that goes in to make the Nutcracker come to life. The ballet, you had it at the Lincoln Midwest Ballet Company there in Lincoln this past weekend. My buddy Ben Chandler, he's been playing Drosselmeyer for probably 20 some years now. Heard from him. He did a great job. Everybody at Lincoln that performed, amazing job. I went to watch my niece Calla at the Houston Bay Area, Houston Ballet and Theater. She did a great job. They all did a great job. So it's just amazing watching that. It's almost 3 hours of ballet, and just the talent and everything displayed there was amazing. So all of the Nutcracker performers and helpers, you guys are Raff's Good Take.
Well said. Nothing makes me feel more uncoordinated than watching stuff like that. You see some of those people and you're like, man, that is composure I wish I had. But no, those guys were phenomenal. Raff, do I still got you? Or are you just frozen?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Screen's
Sorry.
frozen for some reason. I don't know what happened there, but that's fine. We can.
I don't know. I was posing.
You're still frozen for me.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, for everybody listening, I don't know how long it's been, but you're just sitting there with silence with your lips pursed, but it's all right.
Nice.
We're wrapping up anyways, as long as we can hear you.
Yeah, you can hear
that
me.
works
That
out.
matters.
Yeah,
I
that
have, a
works
face,
out just fine.
I have a face for radio is what I've heard.
Yeah, that's what they say. Well, I'll tell you what, I have to give a good take as well. My good take goes out to your Denver Broncos. Way to beat the Packers. That's what we needed. Bears back at number 1 in the NFC North, thanks to that game.
You requested it, and I said make it happen. So that's what we do. We did it for the Bears.
It's incredible. Congratulations to the Broncos. You guys are still number 1 in your division. And then my Chicago Bears back to number 1 after you guys took down the Packers. It's been kind of funny. You know, the Bears were number 1 in the NFC. Then they lost to the Packers and they dropped all the way down to number 7. Then the Packers were sitting there at number 2. They lose to the Broncos. Now they're all the way down at number 7. And the Bears, they beat the Browns and they slide all the way back up at number 2. So a lot of chaos still going on in the NFC North. But shout out to the Denver Broncos for clearing the way for my Chicago Bears. That's going to wrap it up for us. That is Chris Raff, the frozen Chris Raff. I am Harrison Arns. Appreciate you guys listening. Don't go anywhere. Don't Punt Hour coming up next.